All right, what's up, y'all? It is Lions week. We will be playing the Detroit Lions this Sunday at SoFi Stadium, and we will be playing against our boy, our former quarterback, Jared Goff. Jared Goff, of course, as y'all know, was traded to the Lions this past offseason for Matthew Stafford and a couple of first round picks to the Lions. And in a move that was a considered a blockbuster trade, a one that was quite surprise. It was quite surprising. It was a lot of buzz around it when it happened, and that all went well. Matthew's doing pretty good for us so far. Not perfect, not perfect. There's In fact, there are a couple things I feel he needs to improve upon, but I feel like that's a, a mixture of a couple things. I think we still haven't got the chemistry with everybody on the offense yet. It's a complicated offense, and it's the first couple weeks, and it is his first year in a new system, so these things take time. Now, Jared, uh, unfortunately, isn't doing so well at the moment in Detroit. As we can see here, Jared Goff has yet to, and the quote is, step up with Detroit. And so let's go ahead and get into this. The former Rams quarterback has struggled with the Lions for the first part of the season. Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell was as honest as he could in response about former LA Rams quarterback Jared Goff's performance this season after a rough 34-11 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. And Dan Campbell here was quoted after the game saying he's going to need to put a little bit of weight on his shoulders here. It's time to step up, make some throws, and do some things, but he needs help. Here's Dan Campbell. As you know, I feel like he needs to step up more than he has, Lion coach on Jared Goff. Now, it would appear Dan Campbell is frustrated with Jared, and I understand why. I do, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later. I want to go ahead and finish this article first. Campbell has been criticized by some in the media for throwing Goff under the bus and sacrificing him into a volcano. Personally, this author, I believe the Lions' leading man had every reason to call out Goff. In the demoralizing defeat to Cincy, Goff completed 28 of 42 passes for 202 yards and an interception, finishing with a 67.8 passer rating. And this marked the second consecutive week Jared has failed to throw a touchdown pass. Last week, in a 19-17 loss to the Vikings, Goff finished 21 of 35 for 203 yards and an interception, ending with 64.3 passer rating. The last two games have been pitiful for the former LA starter, but his efforts in last Sunday's game had to have been the worst game of his team's 0-6 start. Goff's nightmare of a matchup can be best summarized with a play about 10 minutes into the second quarter. During the play in question, the Lions were facing a fourth and four on their own 38-yard line, and Goff throws it away. Goff throws it away. That is unfortunate for sure. I did not even know this happened. It was Even more notable was that running back DeAndre Swift was so wide open on the play that Goff probably couldn't have possibly overthrown him even if he tried his darndest, from what he's saying here. So as you can see, the running back was open, and basically they rush the middle. Goff kind of rolls out this way, kind of down the field this way, and I guess he just doesn't see the running back there, and he just throws it away. And that's just – Goff has a tendency to have mental lapses. Like he has so many brain farts. It's incredibly frustrating. And I I I, I feel for the Detroit fans because trust me, I know the feeling. Trust me, I know the feeling. Goff just he'll make you he'll make you crazy, man. He'll make you crazy just wondering what is he thinking, you know? So not I'm really not trying to throw shade, Jared. It's good lord, man. It's just it's just hard sometimes, you know? It's just hard. Had Goff actually seen Swift on the play, it would have gone for a large chunk play, as there wasn't a defender within 5 yards of him. Within the last couple of days in the Motor City, fans in the Motor City, excuse me, are wondering when Campbell would contemplate pulling the plug on the quarterback who led LA to the Super Bowl in 2018. As you can see below, Goff's 2021 stats have left much to be desired. Okay, so here we go. Through 6 games, Goff has completed 66.8% of his passes for 1,505 yards with 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions with an 86.9 passer rating. Goff is currently 17th in the NFL in passing yards, 14th in completion percentage, tied for 20th in touchdown passes, and 31st in yards per attempt, 6.3, and 23rd in passer rating. Those numbers aren't great. This is basically last year. This is basically what I saw last year from Goff. Not going to lie. Jared and Sosa from Locked On Rams says Jared Goff has 4 interceptions, 6 fumbles in 5 games this season, 2 turnovers per game. Yowza. Yeah, and it's that this is just a sign that Goff just is one of the most frustrating things about Goff. And I'm going to try not to go into a huge tangent here. Is not just his mistakes or his lapses in mental judgment and his inability to read defenses. It's this, and I can't confirm this, but it's this feeling that I get. A lot of people have questioned Jared Goff's work ethic. I certainly questioned it a lot in the latter years of his time with the Rams. It just seems like, because when you're having the same issues year after year after year, it just seems like, okay, are you putting in the enough work to get better at it? And Jared Goff just seemed like a guy who was clocking in, 9 to 5. As soon as 5 o'clock hit, I'm going home. That's going to be it. No extra work, no nothing. And just for a guy who was being paid as much as he was being paid by us back in 2018, made him like the highest paid quarterback in the league at that time. Yeah, fans were a bit frustrated with his apparent lack of work ethic. And it's just incredibly frustrating to watch him have the same issues over and over and over again. And I have not watched any Lions games this year, but from what I'm reading, it sounds more the same. I'm sorry, Jared. It just sounds more the same to me. Okay, moving on, however. While this casts Goff in a poor light, he hasn't been given much to work with. He has, let's see, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, sorry if I'm mispronouncing any of these, Quintez Cephas to throw to. Even the most diehard fans wouldn't even know who these fine gentlemen are. Let's see, DeAndre Swift has 34 receptions for 295 yards and a touchdown to make him Detroit's second leading receiver after tight end T.J. Hawkinson, who is a pretty good football player in his own right. So, let's see. Then he goes on. He says they're not Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. Goff has missed the mark while working with a elite collection of practice squad four stringers. Jesus. Now here's a interesting stat that I saw. Jared Goff's career record by head coach. He is 42-20 under Sean McVay. Dan Campbell 0-5, Jeff Fisher 0-3, 0-4, excuse me, and John Fossil 0-3, which kind of confirms what a lot of Rams fans have been feeling, myself included, that Sean was basically holding Jared's hand throughout his entire time here, and basically I get the sense that for whatever reason, whether Jared just didn't study his playbook enough or he just simply couldn't understand the offensive the plays and the setups and whatnot. And to be fair, it is complicated. It is a complicated offense. It's hard to learn, but whatever it may be, Jared just wasn't getting it. He simply just wasn't getting it. And I think Sean had to really coach around his deficiencies when he was with us in LA. And I think that really began to wear on Sean. I think he was becoming very frustrated and a bit bitter, in my opinion. That's just from an outsider's looking in. And it's just it's boy, oh boy, man. Come on, Jared. Now, moving on, McVay, there was a bit of drama between Matthew. The point I was trying to make there is with McVay being so frustrated, I think probably explains why there was a bit of drama between these two guys when he was traded. You could just kind of get a sense that they weren't getting along. And I think that had a lot to do with it. And added to the fact that Sean was working really hard to work around Jared's deficiencies. And Jared here just didn't seem bothered to get better at all. He had questionable work ethic. And he had a bunch of deficiencies that it was the same deficiencies year in and year out. And we have one guy who's busting his ass and trying to get you and the team better. And then this guy's just kind of, whatever, man, just clocking in, clocking out. I can see where it could be frustrating. It was frustrating for me as a fan just watching. I can imagine how frustrating it was for Sean. So kind of explains a lot of the drama that ensued after the trade. But continuing on, Sean actually talked about the trade a little bit here in one of our press conferences. Sean expressed some regret earlier this week over the lack of communication in the blockbuster trade that sent Goff to Detroit and Matthew Stafford to Los Angeles. And the quote here by Sean is, "Yes, I wish there were better, clear communication. There was better, clear communication." He said during a Monday press conference, "To say that it was perfectly handled on my end, I wouldn't be totally accurate in that. I'll never claim to be perfect, but I will try to learn from some things that I can do better, and I think that was one of them, without a doubt." McVay took the high road and owned up to his past mistake in not reaching out to Goff sooner. He believes Goff will be well received when the quarterback makes his much anticipated return to SoFi on Sunday against the team that gave him up. And Sean continues, he quotes, "I think he'll be received well. I think the LA fans and I think Rams fans know what a great job he had done and how much he meant to the Rams organization, both as a football player and also the community." After the first 2 years Jared had under McVay's tutelage, there was a lot to be celebrated, and admired in the work he had accomplished with the Rams, and that's true. Jared, it wasn't all bad. He did play really well in a lot of games, so time will tell in his tenure with Detroit how his tenure in Detroit will finish. If Goff continues this downward spiral, though, it'll only be another sign that he'll never again live up to his pre-2019 highs. Yeah, and just, McVay is saying he wishes he would have communicated to Goff a little better. But, I mean, McVay doesn't have to do that. Jared should know how this business is, okay? And it looks like Jared got his feelings hurt a little bit, and I completely get that. It never feels good to be let go, or anything. I get that, but Sean, like, what's Sean gonna do? What's he gonna say? Jared, hey man, we're thinking about trading you, and then what if the trade with Matthew Stafford falls through, and then you're stuck with Jared? And then you're stuck with Jared again after telling him you were trying to trade him. It's what, I don't know. It's just one of those things. No one really knows exactly what happened, but it's just one of those things. Sean, don't feel too bad about it. Jared knows how it is. It's just this is a business. With a lot of these, Jared needs to understand it is what it is. Okay, you weren't delivering. I think Jared deep down knows. He knows if he really worked as hard as he possibly could to be the best quarterback he could be when he was with the Rams. He knows in his heart. And I think he knows in his heart that maybe he didn't possibly work as hard as he could have to work on some of his deficiencies. Some of things like reading the defenses, progressing through your reads, things like studying the playbook a little better, things like taking some chances downfield. You have to be able you have to take some risks, Jared. You can't just kind of go out there and throw 2-3 yard passes and expect that to be good enough. You can't do that. So it's, Goff isn't doing so well so far in Detroit, and I hope he does well. I do. I don't dislike him. He's just a frustrating football player to watch if he's on your team, but he isn't unlikable. He's a decent guy, but I wish nothing but the best for Jared. Not this Sunday, of course, but it'll be nice to see him again. But it's just Jared. He just whatever it may be, man. He just doesn't have it. He just doesn't have the desire or the work ethic to get better. That's just my opinion. From everything I've seen, he just clocks in, clocks out. So, all right, guys, that's gonna do it for now. I'll catch you guys on the next one. It's gonna be fun, but then again, watch in very much Ram fashion. Watch us make Jared Goff look elite, like a all-pro quarterback, and he dices us up to lead the Lions to victory. It could happen. Need I remind you all about the Jets travesty just last year, where a winless 0-12, 0-13 Jets team came into LA and beat us. That happened last year. So Detroit has a chance. Okay, so and Jared, if there is a game that Jared is going to play for all the Lions fans, if there's a game that you'll get Jared's best performance out of, the best football performance out of him, it's going to be against us. I can pretty much guarantee you that. I don't know how well he will perform, but here he will try his darndest to beat us. He wants to beat us. I promise you he does. But we'll see. It should be exciting. Should be exciting for sure. Very excited to see how it goes. And, we'll see. Jared, man, you gotta step up a little bit. Just not this week. Maybe next week. But, all right, guys, that's going to do it for now. I will catch you guys on the next one. And as always, go Rams.